What is going on, everybody? It is Phoenix the Boss bringing you guys another episode of Go Battle League Struggles, and I'm back for the first time since Master League in Season 8 with a Go Battle League Struggles video for you guys. I do apologize for the lack of content as I started a new job that requires me to travel and drive, so I never really have the time to record my content that I want to put out there, and it makes it a little bit difficult for me to be able to make these Go Battle League Struggle videos. I did have a little bit of time away from work this week, so I did record a couple of battles that I wanted to showcase to you guys. And today, I'm going to be, here in Season 9, the Ultra League Remix Cup, going to be showcasing a very good team that I kind of put together and have been running for the last couple days. This team consists of Articuno on the lead, the Legacy Umbreon with the Psychic Community Day move, and an XL Defense Form Deoxys that I had got a couple of months ago to raid as well. This team is really good, and it does have some hard counters to it. Lapras and Scrafty works really bad against this team, but for the most part, it was a pretty good team, and I kind of dubbed it the Surrender Squad. You guys will see here today why it is that I called this team the Surrender Squad, but I wanted to just showcase how good this team was in the Open Ultra League. I got about 10 battles here, or the Ultra League Remix. I got about 10 battles here, so I wanted to go ahead and let you guys get to it. Here we do have a Articuno versus Amanda Buzz lead. I'm going to go ahead and just start launching off these Icy Winds because this is the winning matchup for Articuno. They switch into their Shadow Politoed. I come in with the Defense Form Deoxys. It is an absolute tank, and this is the right move to come in with. This Politoed is running Surf, which to me kind of makes sense. The Weather Ball recently got a debuff, so it's not as strong. Surf is probably slightly stronger than the Weather Ball is right now, but gonna go ahead and get this Thunderbolt through. It's unshielded, so Politoed is a very spammy Pokemon, so they get to another Surf. I do go ahead and shield right here, and I'm able to counter down. They come back in with the Mandibuzz, so I go ahead and launch this Thunderbolt because I know that I have a win con here just using Articuno, and I'm trying to get to a Psycho Boost just to do a little bit more chip damage. I know it's not going to KO, and they do knock out my Defense Form Deoxys, and they come in with a Nidoqueen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and debuff the Nidoqueen. They're going to get to a Poison Fang. This is going to debuff my defense, so I'm going to stay in, and I'm going to build up to another Icy Wind, but they do get the next Poison Fang off. Now, even though their attack is lowered, it now drops my defense by 2 stages, so this isn't the best matchup. I'm able to get the last shield off of the opponent, and then I come in with Umbreon. Now, typically, Nidoqueen would have a good matchup against Umbreon, but at this point, because, I'm not running Last Resort, I'm running Psychic, it's a better matchup for the Umbreon. So I'm going to build up to here to 2 foul plays. I'm just going to throw this first foul play. This should be able to take out the Mandibuzz, and then when they come in with the Nidoqueen, I'm going to go ahead and hit this thing with the Psychic, so that's going to be a good game. Very well played to my opponent, and, this was the first battle. I thought to myself, okay, probably can run with this team a little bit more. So, Alright, so we get into the next battle. So it's Articuno against Lapras. This isn't the greatest lead in the world, so I go ahead and switch out to Umbreon. And unfortunately, my opponent ended up catching some lag. They weren't able to attack. I try to look at myself as a fair battler. So if I see somebody's lagging out, I do fast moves until either A, they just do not respond with any type of attacks, or B, they start to attack again, and then I can fairly go ahead and throw my charge move. So it's really unfortunate, and it's just a part of the game. At this point, I've been hit with lag to the point where I couldn't attack as well, so I understand it 100%. But either way it goes, I'm just getting these foul plays off at this Lapras at this point, just spamming them as much as possible. I want to build up to nearly 100 energy again. I'm thinking that they're either going to go with an Ice Beam or Surf at this point, but they're running Skull Bash, so they do get the defense increase, and I just snarl this thing all the way down. I have 100% energy at this point, so I'm completely loaded, and All right, they bring out the Charizard. The Charizard is a Dragon Breath variant, so it's doing a pretty decent amount on the Umbreon, and that's a part of the game that I'm starting to realize. When a lot of streamers were bringing out the issue about being able to pause the game, I'm realizing during a lot of charge move or attempts to farm up, it's freezing the game a lot. I don't know if that's something that's caused by streamers, but ultimately I bring out the Articuno, they surrender, so we move on to the next battle. But yeah, that's just the point I want to get across. So leading with the Venusaur, I'm going to go ahead and bring in their Gyarados, thinking that they're up to a crunch, so I tried to catch a crunch on my Umbreon for resisted damage, but they just throw the Aqua Tail here, and they have enough loaded energy in order to get a back-to-back Aqua Tail, but it's fine. Umbreon is an absolute tank, so there was no reason for me to shield or anything. I'm going to go ahead and start to launch these foul plays off, so loading up a little bit more energy, and I'm getting the next foul play off to this Gyarados. That's going to be enough in order to take it out. They're coming back in with the Venusaur, and at this point I'm like, they don't know that I'm running this Psychic, so I'm going to go ahead and throw Psychic. That does 50% of Venusaur's health, and knowing that the matchup that they have to go against the Articuno, they want to at least get up to a Frenzy Plant and a Sludge Bomb, so you know, that allowed me to be able to get the foul play off and take this thing down to red health. They throw the Frenzy Plant. I come back in with the Articuno. I know that the Sludge Bomb is not going to KO from this point, so I take it, and then they come in with their Magnezone. I throw in my Defense Form Deoxys. Opponent knows that it's academic at this point, so they just go ahead and surrender. Good game to them. So that's the second surrender of this set. Next battle, we have Articuno into Galarian Stunfisk. This is the absolute worst matchup. I know that Defense Form Deoxys has a better matchup against Stunfisk, but typically if people are running Stunfisk in the lead, they would usually have a Scrafty in the back or a Nidoqueen, and I think that Defense Form Deoxys is a better option to have in the back than to put it up against the Galarian Stunfisk. So I just go ahead and bring out the Umbreon. I can survive a couple of Earthquakes. I'm just going to go ahead and launch off as many of these foul plays as I can possibly get, you know, and then they come in with their own Deoxys, and this is a battle that I know that I had issues with. Gonna get the foul play off. It does a decent amount. Umbreon's not really attack weighted, and Defense Form Deoxys is super bulky, so instead of just letting the Umbreon go down, I think to myself, I'm going to need a sacrificial swap later on, so I go ahead and just bank the Umbreon as a third shield, bring in my Articuno, shielded the Rock Slide, launching the Icy Wind. I was not able to take it out with the Icy Wind, and they're surviving with 1 HP in a Dream, and that's really important. They come back out with the Galarian Stunfisk, so I'm going to go ahead and get this Icy Wind off to debuff it. I could have shielded right here and just gone for the farm down, but I chose not to shield, and I'm going to come in with the Defense Form Deoxys, and I'm just going to go ahead and counter this thing down. So it all depends on what they have in the back that will really determine if I'm able to win this, and they have a Jellicent. So at this point, I know that it's going to be a little stressful to try to win this match, and it's really going to be dependent on me catching a move. It's a bubble Jellicent, so that actually works out. I know that I have to take at least one Shadow Ball regardless, so I go ahead and let the first one go through, and I'm building up extra energy, hoping that they don't try to sack on one of my charge moves. So I get the second shield, and then I catch, and I think it's a Shadow Ball and an Ice Beam right here. Yeah, I catch the Ice Beam on my Umbreon, so I made the necessary play, and I know I had the energy for a Thunderbolt, and I overfarmed because I figured that they were going to count for me to try to, I don't know, throw the Thunderbolt a little later than possible, but they did a really good job on catching that, so good game to my opponent. And next up, we have a Articuno into a Skarmory. There was a little bit of lag there that kind of froze the game at the beginning. I thought it was going to be terrible, but you know, we were able to get it going. So they have this XL Skarmory. I have a perfect Skarmory that I want to XL, but having the most stressful time coming across the candy. So, and I need to best buddy it too, and I'm super lazy about best buddying. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and take this Sky Attack, and the opponent has a second Sky Attack. I know they did not make it to a Brave Bird, but I'm gonna shield the Sky Attack anyways, and then they're gonna come in with the Umbreon. So typically, if they're running with an Umbreon, or they switch into an Umbreon with Articuno, it's always key to at least throw an Icy Wind before switching to Deoxys if this is the type of team that you're gonna run. Only because the Snarl and Foul Plays are going to do damage, but it reduces it slightly, so that makes the matchup for Defense Form Deoxys a little bit better. Gonna go ahead and counter this thing down, throw the Thunderbolt, did a decent amount of damage to it, so they're gonna go ahead and hit me with another Foul Play, but I know that I can survive it, and I actually can survive one more Foul Play without having to shield right here. So not gonna shield. They're gonna go ahead and bring back the Skarmory. Yeah, they're gonna bring back the Skarmory, and they're gonna shield. So I swap to my Articuno, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Icy Wind right here. This should be enough to take it out. No, not take it out. Okay, so it's barely alive, but now I'm able to get some extra farm on this Articuno to build up to at least an Icy Wind. So at this point, I should be able to just go ahead and farm down the Umbreon, which I was able to do successfully, and I have nearly 2 Icy Winds, and got caught with some lag to the point where this Kingdra almost Dragon Breath me down. So I was able to get off back-to-back Icy Winds here, swap to Umbreon, and even with the shield, the opponent knows that it's academic at this point. Double debuff Kingdra versus a super bulky Umbreon, they just go ahead and surrender. That's the third surrender, so good game to my opponent. Next up, we have the Articuno into the Armored Mewtwo. Not a terrible matchup if the Armored Mewtwo isn't running Rock Slide, which typically most aren't. They're running Side Strike and Dynamic Punch for that dark coverage. So I go ahead and hit this thing with the Icy Wind just to debuff it a little bit. Side Strike comes through. It still does a decent amount of damage, so I'm going to build up to another Icy Wind here, and I'm going to try to make the catch. I tried to catch and on the Umbreon, but wasn't able to. But they come in with the Machamp, and I'm throwing the Psychic, so that did a decent amount of its damage. So they're getting these cross chops off. It's doing a decent amount of work on me. So alright, so getting this Foul Play off, and they're able to nearly farm me down, but they throw another cross chop, and they go ahead and take out the Umbreon. Sorry, I had to charge my computer, so that's probably why it's running the way that it is. Alright, so I'm able to snipe down that Machamp, and then they come in with the Mewtwo. I go ahead and throw the Icy Wind, debuff it a little bit, and then they come in with a Snorlax. So I think that I know what my win con here is. I think that I have to actually take the first Body Slam and then shield everything down. But that Mewtwo had more energy than I actually gave it credit. So just going to go ahead and shield this next Thunderbolt, next Body Slam. Try to get to this Thunderbolt, counter up as much energy as I can. Get to at least a Thunderbolt and a half. And I'm going to go ahead and throw it right here. And then I try to catch on I catch the Body Slam on the Deoxys, but then I'm able to farm it down. And here comes the Mewtwo with the Side Strike. Even though Deoxys is a Psychic type as well, the Side Strike is a pretty strong move, so, you know, they had enough for 2 saved up. Deoxys wouldn't have been able to survive that. Plus, they had a shield anyways. I really had no win condition there. So, good game to my opponent. Well played. I did a bad job at really counting their energy. So, next up, we have Scrafty into Articuno. Again, the trickiest Pokemon for this team, since Scrafty could technically beat everybody on this team. So, they're throwing power-up punches, and okay, so they're going to get to the next one here. I don't think this is a foul play, so they're going to just run power-up punches. They're just going to let that thing go rampant. I'm going to go ahead and launch the Icy Wind, debuff it a little bit, and they're probably thinking I'm going to go for another Icy Wind, but I get to the Hurricane, and my only hope is that this goes unshielded. It does. go ahead and take out the Scrafty. The biggest threat to this team is now out of the way. So they come in with their Shadow Nidoqueen, and I'm going to meet them in kind with my Umbreon. Again, even though Eevee just recently had the community day, I don't know if a lot of people are respecting the fact that Psychic Umbreon is getting ran in the Ultra League. So this one that I completely excelled in the process of best buddying right now. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Psychic. That does a ton of Shadow Nidoqueen's damage. Get some more lag again, and again, this is becoming a problem that I'm starting to realize is when you're getting in the process of farming down an opponent, automatically there's this lag. I don't know if it's something that opponents are doing on their end, or I don't know if it's something that's just ironically happening, but it's happening too much and it's getting a little bit annoying. I wish Niantic would address that. But regardless of that, they go ahead and bring in their Crobat. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Thunderbolt. Take this thing all the way down to red health. They throw the Shadow Ball. So at this point, I know they need 7 Air Slashes in order to get to another Shadow Ball. So I'm just going to go ahead and build up to 2 Psycho Boosts. They're going to have to block the first one, which they do. And then we're just going to go ahead and throw the second one. That's going to take out our opponent. Good game. Very close and very well contested battle. Them not shielding the Hurricane on that Scrafty is the main thing that won me this battle because their team comp was good against mine. So next up, we have an XL Dragalge going up against Articuno. They swap into their Jellicent. I have a slew of text messages coming through here as well, so never mind that. They swap into their Jellicent, and I just go ahead and swap into my Umbreon. It's not running Bubble Beam, so I can't get debuffed. At this point, I'm just going to start spamming off foul plays until I can get this thing taken out. And because I have such a good matchup, the goal is for me to at least maintain energy to have at least a foul play stored away every single time I throw one. So we're going to go ahead and get the second foul play off here. If it's low enough, then I'm just going to go ahead and completely snarl this thing down. Get close to about 2 foul plays, and I'm going to build up to 100 energy. Again, a lot of people don't know that Umbreon's running Psychic because I rarely had any Psychics for this team be blocked. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the second Psychic right here, and this one's going to get the shield. Also, another thing, I was rarely getting debuffs as well. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the third Psychic, and this is going to get the second shield from Dragalge as well. I'm going to come back in with this Articuno. They're down on shield. I know that an Outrage from this range isn't going to KO, but I go ahead and take the Aqua Tail, and maybe an Outrage right now would KO. So it was the Outrage, shielded up properly. Then they come in with the Ferrothorn. So I switched to Deoxys just because like the counter damage is enough in order to give me a win here. But really and truthfully, the moveset doesn't work outside of the fast move going up against Ferrothorn. So I probably would have been better off just throwing a Hurricane or even an Icy Wind in order to take this thing out. But, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and beat this thing down with counters. I'm going to throw this Resisted Thunderbolt. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but at least enough to the point where I can counter it down. Power Whip, Mirror Shot, nothing's going to do enough in order to take out Defense Form Deoxys at this point. So again, we just beat this thing down. They come in with the Dragalge. They surrender the match. GG's to my opponent. Very well played. And we move on to the next one. So we have Articuno against Shadow Nidoqueen. Again, a lead you would love to see. They swap out into Umbreon. As always, when they swap out into Umbreon, you can take the attacks with Articuno that Umbreon throwing out. So he's throwing out a Dark Pulse. So at this point, okay, I definitely need to get an Icy Wind off because Dark Pulse is slightly stronger than Foul Play. So I'm going to get this off and build up to a second Icy Wind for just in case. Come in with my Defense Form Deoxys, and it's now at the range where I should be able to counter this thing down, and a Thunderbolt plus counter should be enough in order to take out the Umbreon. So and then, again, another Dark Pulse hits, but I'm surviving it pretty fine. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Thunderbolt right here. If they shield, then I'm going to shield the next Dark Pulse, which they don't do. I'm going to shield it anyway because I have such an energy lead. It's no need to let all that energy go to waste. So they're going to come in with their Nidoqueen, and I'm up to 2 Psycho Boost. I'm going to go throw this first one, and I'm going to dip. No, okay, so no, I'm just going to throw both the Psycho Boosts now. This is going to do a decent amount, and now I come in with the Umbreon, and they come in with Scrafty. My win condition here should have been to come in with the Articuno, because at that point in time I already had enough health and energy on Articuno to the point where I could have got a Hurricane off or even baited with Icy Wind and been in a better situation. But me coming in with Umbreon right here as opposed to coming in with the Articuno is the reason that I'm going to lose this match. And at this point it's resisted, but I'm throwing Psychics in the hope of getting a defense drop, which unfortunately I didn't, and it's doing slightly more damage than what the double resisted foul plays are going to do. So now I come in with Articuno, and time to start nerfing this thing's health back down. Unfortunately, they're just going to go ahead and keep throwing these power-up punches, and I'm thinking that a foul play is coming here, but you know, whenever Scrafty's throwing power-up punch, there's no incentive in throwing there's really no incentive in throwing a foul play. So, you know, could have at least had a shield saved on my Defense Form Deoxys, which, as you can see, would have done me more good because they came in with their Nidoqueen, and if I had a shield, I could have shielded the Poison Fang and would have been able to get to the Psycho Boost in order to take it out, but didn't happen that way. So good game to my opponent. It was just a bad play in the mid game for me that really cost me. So next we have Surfetch into Articuno. The counters are doing resisted damage, so depending on how you got to play this, they come with the Night Slash. So neutral damage, I'm going to go ahead and throw the Icy Wind here. They were just building up a little bit more, because if they would have thrown another Night Slash right there, I'm almost certain they would have took me out. Then they switch into their Armored Mewtwo. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Icy Wind and bail into my Umbreon. Start getting ahead on energy with Snarl. I want to at least get up to 2 foul plays before I start to throw anything. They should be at about 2 dynamic punches, but they throw a Side Strike trying to you know, bait me out of a shield. I know better. They're debuffed, so there's really no value in me throwing a shield in order to block anything. And at this point, thinking to myself, you know, they can't really do as much damage to me as I think so. And then it kind of occurred to me, maybe they don't have dynamic punch, because if they did, at that point they would have thrown it by now. So, and again, they're just throwing Side Strikes. These Side Strikes are doing the back end of nothing to this Umbreon. And they come in with the Surfetch, so I'm going to go ahead and bait right here with the foul play, and I'm up to a Psychic because I was well at 100 or a little over 100 energy. So hit it with the Psychic, and then they come out with the Gyarados. They find no value in going against an Umbreon with 2 shields, so they go ahead and surrender that one. So that was a good game to my opponent, and that actually did it for that set. So 2 sets, I ended up having a 7-3 record with this team. I think that it was really good, and certain aspects I think that maybe Escavalier could probably work a little bit better as a counter user to the back, just because it doesn't have some of the weaknesses that Defense Form Deoxys had. But overall, I had a really good time playing this team. But I'd like to thank you guys for at least taking the time to watch this video. I'll be sure to drop more content. Please leave a like, subscribe, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day and enjoy your Go Battle League struggles.